Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Brand new tactical review today. Something a little bit different, by request again. This was for Ivan Jovanovic, a coach you can see here on the screen. Serbian national, manager of the Greek team currently, former Olympiacos manager, Panathinaikos as well as a bit time in Saudi, I think, as well, in the Emirates States there. So, manager with a lot of experience, I think a former player as well. Looks kind of like very intimidating, very stern kind of manager, if you see him on the kind of the touch lines and stuff. But certainly different from what I normally do. International kind of national team manager. Sorry, found this one extremely difficult. He has a very unique style. We'll talk about that a little bit more depth shortly. But since I started doing this tactical, lots obviously happened in between. As well as a kind of a fantastic away win against England, which we'll discuss and hopefully kind of match that tactic. Sadly, obviously we learned about the death of a Greek international player, George Baldock. Like I say, very sad, 31 years old. Like I say, as I was making this, he was very much a part of this team when I loaded this kind of save up. So there will be kind of clips of possibly George in the team in the highlights. I did debate whether to kind of take it out and start a game. Obviously, upon hearing of his tragic death, but I think looking at the reaction of the Greek players that night against England, I think it's more to kind of keep his memory kind of going, if you like, as well. And obviously, knowing his kind of contribution to Greek football and his time at obviously Sheffield United for a lot of years. So I will take him out the initial kind of talking about the team, just kind of obviously out of respect. I don't obviously cause any upset or because of what's happened. But like I say, we'll move on with the tactic. Like I say, it took a long time in the making. This took me a good couple of weeks. Normally, I can kind of get an idea of how a manager sets up and how I can get that team playing in Football Manager. This one has been extremely difficult. It's very complex. It's a 4-2-3-1 we will be focusing on. Not your usual kind of gegenpress as such. It's very dynamic in the way he kind of sets up, depending on who he's playing, the level of team. Bear in mind, Greece, but for all intents and purposes, aren't what you probably class as your kind of top tier national team in the kind of the FIFA rankings. I'm not sure exactly where they are. I don't know if we can see maybe on here if information, maybe if we can get a ranking what Football Manager. I've got us ranked 29th. I don't know whether it's down to the fact I've played a couple of kind of European competitions in this save maybe, but yeah. So compared to the kind of elite teams, they know where they are in the terms of kind of world football, but they've got a kind of a very, very intelligent manager, knows who he's up against, spot weaknesses. I think he knows which players to target. Certainly against the top teams, as we saw against England. Now England didn't kind of come out with a kind of a makeshift tactic, a kind of something new they were trialing. That's no excuse, by the way, but the way kind of Greece dealt with them and kind of matched them almost kind of chance for chance, if you like, if not more. I think 3 goals disallowed for Greece in the end. Came out more than worthy winners. Fantastic display of kind of a counter-attack in football, but I think with a bit of a twist. Like I say, a little bit more intelligent than just your kind of normal sit-back style of football. But we'll discuss that as we go through the tactic. Talk a little bit more in depth. Discuss kind of player roles. Like I say, the players I've got in don't necessarily represent probably the current Greece team. I think there will be a few that are. But it's more about positions in this tactic, I think, and more about how he sets up versus those kind of what you class as maybe the elite teams, maybe the top 10 in the world, versus teams that maybe Greece know they can maybe dominate, or certainly Jovanovic. So like I say, a little bit different from the norm. We normally focus on kind of club managers, but I was asked to do this one by a subscriber. I think he's a subscriber anyway. He has requested this kind of specifically, so kind of thought, okay, why not? Let's give it a go. Like I say, it was a couple of weeks in the making. It's been a bit of a grind. The style of play he plays, I found it very difficult to kind of replicate on Football Manager, purely the way Football Manager sets up. When you play these elite teams, they don't really have an off day. The elite players are elite. Like I say, they don't have a kind of a bad 90 minutes. Mbappe's, your Bellinghams for England and stuff, So it was difficult to recreate, but I think I've got it somewhere near. I think I've kind of emulated the style. I think it's a kind of good tactic to use. I will say it straight away though, if you were to take this tactic, I don't think it's a plug and play. I think there's a tactic there that if you're into tactics and you like to kind of do in-game management, focus on who's causing your team problems, the main creators, focus on them, maybe tackle them as kind of a close down more, tackle harder, short a weaker foot kind of tactic. So I think it's a tactic you can take, you can use. I will say, obviously, Jovanovic himself uses a 4-2-3-1. He does sometimes push out into a 4-3-3. I think against teams he knows he can really dominate possession. Sometimes as well a 4-4-2, I think. But we're going to look at his 4-2-3-1. We did play it against England successfully, and I think the following game against Ireland, where he won 2-0 as well. So we'll look at that. Like I say, I don't think it's a plug and play. It's probably a tactic that you really have to probably watch in game a lot. I mean, probably the first time in ever had the 2D match engine on. I was looking at kind of where players were, position, what we were like with the ball, what we were like without, who was causing us problems, and then trying to obviously replicate a tactic that could kind of balance all that out. So I found it kind of mentally draining, to be honest, but fun, and I think I've got the results that I wanted. So as you can see, competition-wise, and I kind of focused on, I think I did a couple of games in the Nations League, but then I kind of thought perfect opportunity would be to trial this tactic out in the European Championships. As you can see, we finished second in our group, which I thought was a great achievement itself. Kind of played 3, won 1, drew 2, and then obviously lost 0. So drawn games against Sweden and away to Italy, which again I thought was a fantastic result. And won our game against Serbia away again. Not a bad team. Kind of round about kind of where we are in the rankings. Although I think they may be slightly higher. I think my rankings has increased because of me where we are finished in the Euros. So, like I say, I mean, Serbia had kind of players that could damage as well. I think Vlahovic up front, Mitrovic as well. So it was kind of imperative that this tactic worked to kind of null that kind of attacking threat. But happy with kind of where we finished. Not too bad at all. Looking at the stages then, second round. Drew Germany. I was really, really proud of this result. I don't know if I can bring some stats up here. I think I posted this picture kind of on YouTube channel and things as well. So, as you can see, fairly matched them with shots. Kind of, they had 13, we had 9. They had slightly more on target, which expecting. We had 3 on target. XG of just over 1. Possession, always expect to give away possession with this tactic, as we'll discuss later on. Passes as well, low number of passes. And a low number completed. Again, something I really expect with this style of tactic, and probably something that you really do see with kind of Jovanovic's style. If he's playing these top teams, you saw it against England, kind of bring up the stats. So just to kind of like emphasise, obviously, that game against England, which I'll probably keep referring to, because it's a really good example of how this tactic works and what it's all about. Kind of both teams had 12 shots. Greece actually had more on target than 3, against England's 2. But England had the lion's share possession, 64% to Greece's 36. 577 passes for England and only 330 for Greece. So straight away gives you on plus, and that was 74% accuracy from Greece as well. So it gives you an idea mentally of where this tactic's heading. If you listen to them kind of numbers, you know they're very defensive. They're quite happy to give the other team the ball, but when they do get the ball, it's direct passing. Very few passes, but it's getting up the pitch, looking to create chances, and looking to score goals, basically on the counter, like an aggressive counter. But I think it's how they do that that's kind of key to this tactic. It's not just a kind of 4-4-2, kind of classic men behind the ball, then hope and pray you can kind of get it up there to someone with a bit of pace or a target man. I think it's quite a little bit more thought out than that, a little bit more in depth, and we'll discuss that very shortly. So, like I say, it's very hard to kind of give you pure stats. We haven't got the data hub to use in this national team. And part of me, I mean, I've never ever managed national teams in kind of football manager ever, and all the way back to championship manager, to be honest with you. But I can probably see why this is not coming in to 25 when it eventually does get released, because you do feel a little bit kind of disengaged from it all, really. There's no kind of depth to it. I can't look at, like you say, any stats or any data hubs, get any data from it, and you do feel a bit dejected from the whole thing altogether, really, to be honest with you. And hopefully in 2025 or probably 26, 27 when it comes out, this may be brought back with a little bit more oomph, a little bit more meat behind it, because I did actually enjoy doing the tactic, and I've actually enjoyed competing at kind of a top level competition against big teams like Germany, and like say coming out winners. So we head to the quarter-final then, and as you can see, we fell to France, but doesn't really tell the whole story, to be honest. If you look at them kind of goals, we were leading all the way up, and to be honest, we were kind of, I mean, they weren't ahead that much on shots either, other than the last two. We held them, we'd held them back here. At one point, we actually had more possession than France as well, which was weird. But we weren't far behind them in possession stats. On target, we were only a shot behind them. And bear in mind, they scored 2 goals in literally the last 5 minutes of the match to actually break our hearts. I think I had to make changes at that point. A lot of players were fatigued and just shattered. And when I did, I think the depth and quality just probably wasn't there. And yeah, they just kind of got a bit lucky and overran us in the last 10, 15 minutes. But you can kind of see exactly a game where there's tactics heading. I mean, we were kind of literally 5 minutes away from a semi-final in the UEFA Championships. Bar a little bit more quality in the team, we may have got there. But really happy. And like I say, it doesn't really tell the full story. Hopefully I'll try and show you a little bit more kind of detail on the 2D. We'll try and bring the 2D hub up and show you a little bit more how the tactic works, why it took so long to kind of get it right, and how I think you can probably manage it if you want to take this on and take it on yourself and use this tactic probably for like a lower league, I don't know, a team that's just been promoted to the Premier League maybe, or you find yourself on journeyman, you've took over a team that's bottom of the league, you want to kind of get some results, grind out a few wins, but doing it with a little bit of aggression as well. I think that's the perfect tactic, but I think it does require a lot of in-game management, and I think if you're not that person to invest that into a tactic, or have got the time, then I don't think this tactic may be for you. Like you say, it's very non-football manager friendly in a way, I suppose. Like you say, everyone loves the gegenpress, but if you want to try something different and like you put a bit of work in, I think this may be something for you. So we'll talk about the tactic here then. Like I say, there's a couple of kind of little tweaks and variations you can probably make depending on who you're playing. Like I say, if I was to do this full time, I probably would flip between a 4-2-3-1, maybe a 4-3-3 as well if I was playing, like I say, a weaker team like he does in real life. Be a little bit more dominant in certain games and a little bit more reserved in others. But I'm going to give you the kind of premise of the whole tactic, how I see Jovanovic kind of playing. So starting off, like we said, it's a 4-2-3-1. I think it's pretty obvious. It's kind of certainly against these top teams. I will keep referring against England, etc. It's kind of is a counter-attacking tactic. It's about kind of being defensively solid. I think Jovanovic likes his teams, obviously compact, tight at the back, as you'd expect, kind of defence first. And I think he uses kind of like Mavropanos and kind of his 2 centre-backs, along with the kind of wing-backs and the 2 midfielders in front of him to really compact, squeeze that midfield tight, stop kind of teams just running through them. Like I say, the whole team probably comes as like a low press, but I think he likes to, like I say, keep it compact, close players down, trigger that press in their own half, make it difficult for teams to play through them. Like I say, the idea is win that ball back, and like I say, launch counter attacks. I think that's the whole premise behind this tactic. So, like I say, we'll start off with kind of the sweeper keeper. I've got him as the tactic player role. Sweeper keeper on defend. Again, no additional instructions on this one for Barkas there. Like you say, a solid keeper. Still as Barkas. I think it's somebody Vlakladormos, I think, is it? And somebody in goal. He's in the team, I think. No, he's still there. 31 years old. Again, could easily put him as well. Didn't realize he played for Newcastle. That's just been happening on this game. But yeah, that's outstanding kind of game against England there the other night. But Barkas can go for this one. Like I say, I've just kind of let the assistant pick the team. Wing back then on the right, I'll go for a wing back on support. I think the wing back's quite important. Certainly the left back, Simiskas. That's how you say it, but I will apologise for pronunciation straight away. But start from the right. So wing back on support. Very simply, just on tackle harder. 2 centre backs, central defenders. Again, no additional instructions, just as they come. Central defender on defend. Same for Mavropanos. I've got him on take more risks and stay wider. To be fair, I think I should have had this guy on as well. Something that's come off. So yeah, both kind of centre backs. It's on defend. Mavropanos on take more risks. Both of them to stay wider. Purely because when the centre backs kind of end up kind of bombing forward on the attack, I want these guys to kind of cover them little positions here as well. Give us a bit more cover just in case we lose the ball and a counter attack comes right back at us. So Ivanovic's teams, I think he's again probably the teams he knows he can dominate possession. You probably see the centre backs bring the ball out a little bit more, be a little bit more kind of forward with it. Your kind of midfielders then pushing up a little bit higher. For this one, I've just got my centre backs on defend. Purely playing like Germany, France against like Mbappe, Musiala for Germany. I couldn't really risk being a little bit too free with my centre backs, having too much of the ball. Just basically want to get the ball, get it up the pitch. Very direct, very quick, very simple. On the left-hand side then, Tsimikas, I do apologise. I've got him as a complete wing-back on attack. I saw him against England. I've seen him on a few of the highlights. Kind of very aggressive. Sometimes looking for the kind of overlap with Tzolis there. Looking to kind of get round him at times as Tzolis is cutting in. Sometimes Tzolis holds up the ball and probably play it to Tsimikas. If you can help me with the pronunciations as well, that would be great. But I've also seen him kind of come in, cut inside as well, really drive in here as like number 3, driving into this kind of box, causing all sorts of problems when Greece are on the attack and they got men forward. Like you see with Tzolis, this guy here, Mizouras and Pavlidis as well, all leading the attack. And like you see, that's where it's like looking to kind of overload that attacking area, get across into the box, look for kind of Pavlidis, kind of make an outlet, and like you see, score goals, cause problems. And that all comes from the idea. I'll probably drop onto the kind of more team instructions here now. That probably comes down to this kind of low block. So that's the idea between kind of the Greek team, again, certainly against the top teams. Low block. I've gone for a higher defensive line to keep that kind of line compact between the defence and the attack and the midfield. Keep everything kind of tight. So what that does in theory is obviously the attacking team has to come on, draws the teams out, leaves like a lot of space in the back here. Like you say, England were kind of coming forward, very aggressive. Greece happy for the kind of defence to have the ball, happy to knock around there as much as they want. Not interested, play about here. As soon as you come into this half, Greece are on you. High press, get that ball back, really kind of solid defensive line. Tends to probably be a little bit lower if I'm being honest, but I just want a little bit higher just to kind of keep the distance between the midfield and the forward line tight. So that was the idea behind that, and it seemed to work kind of really well. So the idea is, like you say, bring them into that area, win the ball back, press high, press hard, get stuck in, and then launch counter-attacks into these kind of areas here that's been left behind by the attacking opposition. So I like to say, I think Tsimikas is a perfect kind of wing back for that. Just to kind of show you the instructions there. Simply on tackle harder. He's already got crossing byline, get further forward, stay wider, and run from position. I think it sums him up perfectly. Like to say, I don't want to create a tactic here, and certainly Jovanovic is not a style of just sit back and try and see a game out and park the bus. It's not a park the bus tactic. They want to create chances. They want to score goals no matter who they're playing against. And they say against that, I'm going to keep mentioning England, but they did it so perfectly. It was lovely to watch, quite honest with you. So in front of the defence end, 2 DMs. Now, again, I'll probably, against the bigger teams, err on the side of having 2 defensive midfielders with a kind of a defensive mentality. But again, you always want to look to create chances, support the defence and link up the defence with the attack as well. Certainly help the wing backs out. Certainly on the counter attack, that's the whole point. You want to get that ball up the pitch, you want to get it to the wide areas. So what I went for was more of a volunteer, partner with a ball winning midfielder. There's an argument you could probably have a DM on support and maybe a DM on defend as well. I don't think that would have been too out of place. And probably how they were set up against England, knowing that they're going to kind of face the likes of Bellingham comes from the middle, Cole Palmer, you got Saka on the wings as well, what to kind of deal with. So they're probably sat that a little bit deeper, ready for them to kind of come in. When they did come in, you'd probably see a couple of people getting on them, the main threats, targeting the likes of Bellingham, not giving them time on the ball. Because I think the way England set up as well, they had no out-and-out striker. And I think a lot of them kind of attacking midfielders like your Bellingham and Cole Palmer, Saka, probably looking for balls to run onto with a bit of pace, something you can kind of run onto, drive into that box, get a shot off. And I think Greece has stopped them perfectly. There was no space between that kind of defence in the midfield when they get the ball. Greece players were straight on them, kind of, putting pressure on them, forcing them to shoot from outside the box, which is exactly what they kind of want, and keep it deals with them all day. And the fact that they only had 2 on target just kind of sums up that they just couldn't get the accuracy that day. Shooting under pressure, just made it easy. Obviously, it requires a lot of hard work from the Greece side as well, a lot of concentration. Like you say, you can't switch off for a second. You have to be straight on, know your position, know your role, know your job, and they did it perfectly for me. So on this case, I've got a volunteer on support. Obviously, this player doesn't really like anything I put on him. Shoot less often, tackle harder, dribble less, take more risks. Again, I've got to take more risks on quite a few players because when they get that ball, I want them to just kind of get up that pitch. They're always taking a chance. Accuracy is not important, as we've seen in the real life stats. They're not even kind of making that many passes. It's just get the ball. Whoever gets it is probably looking for kind of Tzolis, the main outlet, Mazuris on the right, or even kind of Bakasetas. But again, I apologise. Is advanced playmaker up front, or even Pavlidis directly if possible. So apart from him, I went for a ball-winning midfielder on support. Take more risks, shoot less often, hold position. Again, like I say, like I change the ball-winning midfielder on defend, DM on defend as well, even an anchor, half-back maybe. Something that just kind of sits in front of that defence and helps them out. Because I think in this tactic, you're going to see a lot of aggression from your wing-backs on the attack. When the ball is getting played up, everyone comes up and supports, leaving behind. So you probably got like Tzolis, Bakasetas, Mazuris and Pavlidis in here, as well as kind of Tomiskas kind of running wherever he wants to be, whether he's looking for that overlap, whether he's running into the here with the ball himself, causing problems. This guy, probably a bit more reserved. Again, you probably wouldn't mind having him as maybe a wing back on defend, or even just a full back with having the kind of advanced playmaker / winger Mazuris up ahead of him. Probably not. I don't think I've seen him looking as aggressive. I could be wrong. I haven't seen too much footage of that. So that's basically the kind of the back line from defence to midfield. Looking up ahead then, got Mazuris as advanced playmaker on the right. Close down more, tackle hard as the instructions. Bakasetas as advanced playmaker. Dribble more, run from position, move into channels. And that couples up with shoot less often, take more risks. Again, could arguably be an attacking midfielder, maybe a shadow striker. Someone that's kind of get into that box and be the kind of the target for the wingers, for the fullbacks. Someone to aim for, hopefully cause problems and create chances and score goals. Because overall, there's not going to be a great deal of them. Although against England, they more than match them. But when they do, you want them to count and kind of have that quality to kind of put these chances away. So that moves on to kind of Tzolis, arguably probably their target man on the left-hand side. I think everything that kind of came out from Greece that night probably went to him first. And for him, I've got to take more risks and cross from deep. Just because in this position, even a little bit deeper, I saw him just kind of whip kind of balls into the box kind of straight away. Very quick, very decisive. Straight to Pavlidis. I think it might have resulted in a goal that got disallowed, I think. Remember rightly, kind of that type of cross. Like I say, great to see, just kind of whipped in. Obviously, they've already found that space behind that kind of England's defensive line. There was pockets of space left behind the kind of aggressive press of England. And like I say, just kind of balls whipped in, causing problems all night. Certainly the kind of the advanced playmaker on the night as well, causing problems. And Pavlidis, as we know, advanced forward up ahead there, shoot less often, close down more, tackle harder. Kind of him as a kind of a complete forward, advanced forward. He's got a target man maybe, because everything that kind of Greece looked to do that night to score goals, it kind of ends up at his feet. For the first goal, just kind of got the ball in the box and caused utter panic. England defenders couldn't even touch him. Great finish as well. And like I say, the second goal at the end as well, just fantastic. So this is kind of the main setup, the main player roles. And like I say, the idea, just to kind of summarise, is kind of an aggressive counter-attack. Let teams come on them, let that space open up behind them, create pockets of space in the midfield and defence, the opposition, and win the ball back in their own defensive half, and get the ball up as quickly as possible. Aggressive counter-attack. Everyone comes forward in numbers. Tomiskas, your wing backs, Mazuris, advanced playmaker, inverted winger, Tzolis and Pavlidis, hoping to kind of score goals, being supported by probably like the volunteer midfield as well. So that's it. See, that's the way I kind of see the setup. How I kind of see them kind of the mentality of the team. Again, like I said, just change against weaker opposition, or shall I say opposition where Jovanovic expects more possession and control of the ball. So we're going to kind of team tactics style. So you notice I've gone for cautious. The reason I've gone for that is because when we read that, it says obviously mentality is best employed for matches that you are favourites to lose, and in which you expect your opponent to put you under extended pressure. It aims to keep men behind the ball, to restrict space in your half, which is the exact way they played, to slow things down and to frustrate the opposition. It relies on direct balls to the forwards, followed by sharp and quick passing to score goals on the counter. Yeah, pretty much summed up exactly how Greece played that night, certainly against England, and I think it was a perfect place to kind of focus on. So I started with a cautious mentality. In possession then, I've gone for attacking with fairly narrow. Reason I went for that is because when I saw them kind of on the attack when the ball was warm, everyone was kind of close there, ready for the ball. Although it was kind of very direct counter-attack, everyone like still seemed compact, if that makes sense. So I didn't want to kind of everything kind of spread out. It wasn't really the case, because balls were getting played kind of straight to the wings. But when they did kind of play out from the back, yeah, everyone was there, kind of tight, compact. They couldn't, like I say, if you've worked hard to win the ball, you don't really want to lose it cheaply, if that makes sense, certainly in your own half. So yeah, so that's why I went for a little bit fairly narrow, because that's where I kind of saw it. They were there for each other, like say, looking for the ball, not kind of spread out far, having to make kind of those more direct passes in their own half, in effect. But once space did open up, you saw a really good kind of direct ball to the wings or midfield, etc. So I've gone for fairly narrow. I've left out passing to space and everything else, purely because of the style I want to play. I just want to kind of focus on the more direct passing directness, and a higher tempo. So like I say, win the ball. I don't want to play out of defence. We don't want to kind of tap around. They weren't that kind of team that night. And I don't think really passing to space either. I don't think they've got really the runners with pace. It was just good passing, direct pretty much to the feet. And some of the passing range was fantastic. Certainly to kind of Tzolis is a kind of almost you kind of target one on the left there as well to get things going. So nothing too kind of fancy, nothing too, very simply pass direct, pass quickly. So one that kind of I've added, and I would probably take this off depending on who you're playing. When I played the kind of Germany game, this really worked, because Germany had the kind of 3 at the back formation. We get 2 wing backs and 2 wide midfielders. They really put like a lot of pressure on. So when kind of Tzolis was getting the ball out wide, or kind of Mazuris is it on the right? Yeah, Mazuris. Obviously with a kind of doubling up on the wings that Germany did. I thought I really struggled to kind of really break them, get through the lines. So I employed hit early crosses, and it worked really well. We're getting the ball, making little runs, and then whipping the ball straight in, hoping to kind of pick out kind of Pavlidis, or the advancing kind of attacking midfielder, playmaker. So worked really well, and I thought it wasn't far off what I was seeing that night as well against kind of England. Kind of quick passing, get the ball, quick crosses in, like I say, exploiting that space that was being left behind, as the kind of defence is probably scrambling back. I thought it kind of worked perfectly and suited. In transition then, regroup, as it is like a counter-attack. I don't want to be going with my players chasing everywhere. I've got to be kind of rigid in structure and formation. This is perfect. Like I say, if you lose possession, just come back, drop it into that defensive line again, that low block, and then we start the game. Obviously, it's a counter-attack, so counters switched on. Distribute quickly, and I've got distributed full-backs and centre-backs. I think that's pretty much what we were seeing from the goalkeeper on that night as well. Like I say, Jovanovic like sometimes likes his defenders to kind of bring the ball out a little bit more. Again, probably against teams where he knows he's going to have more control of possession, but still happened on that night as well. And then either from there, it was either straight at the flanks or through the midfield, and then somehow, shape or form, was getting the kind of Tzolis, etc., counter-attacks on. So I've coupled that up with take short kicks. Out of possession then, like we spoke about before, it's a lower block. I've gone for the high defensive line. Reality, like I said before, it's probably a standard, if not lower defensive line maybe, but that does create a lot of gaps in your midfield. And to be honest, probably in the FM world, it didn't really work. I think once you got gaps there and you're playing your likes of your Germanys and your France, you just kind of get like your overrun played through. And to be honest with you, you can't go too high either, or you get run through kind of through the back here. So I found that was like the sweet spot. Worked really well, defended really well as well, exactly what I wanted to see, and allowed us to win the ball back and launch counter-attacks and just looked correct, if that makes sense. So I've got trigger press much more often. So like I said before, happy for the other teams to have the ball, pass around the back lines here. We're not bothered. Like I say, they do what they want. Try and pump balls over. We'll deal with them all day. As soon as we get into this area though, like I say, the trigger press is on. We're on them. We win that ball back, and we're launching counter-attacks. One thing to watch for, you probably will find, certainly against Germany, was one where they try to keep exploiting these wings here as well, and Mbappe on the left. And I think that's where that in-game management comes in a little bit more. Certainly like Mbappe, I think I had in that match my right back kind of marking him specifically. Worked really well, kept him quiet for massive amount, a huge fact all game. I think he had a 6.3 rating or something at one point. It was honestly, I marked him out of the game, and then obviously had to make changes, and then he suddenly punished me at the end, which, yeah, it's Mbappe, isn't it? So that France game, I was really worked really well. But I will say, like I say, it does require in-game management. This tactic, you've got to be watching, you've got to be kind of involved with it. You've got to be looking at who's their creative players are, and can you pin them down and take the ball off them, or show them on the wrong foot, or press them a little bit harder. But it's a fun tactic, and I think if you're really into a kind of a deep save where you were maybe a building nation, San Marino, it might not be a bad thing to start with. Obviously a little bit dialed back than this. Maybe it's a flat 4-4-2 with a pure counter-attack and tactic, not this kind of gegenpressy hybrid of a counter thing I've created, or try to replicate, sorry. But yeah, that would be my advice. But that's the tactic overall. You can see, let me know what you think. Try it, but please don't think this is just a plug and play, because I think you might be disappointed. I think it's took me 2.5 weeks or something, or 3 weeks to get this to somewhere where I think it replicates kind of Jovanovic in Greece somewhere near. But please get in the comments, let me know what you think. Am I somewhere near? You always say, tell me if I'm near, if I'm miles away, if I'm completely wide of the mark. But I'll try and pick a load of a game, show you kind of a few kind of highlights in the 2D match engine and stuff, and see what it kind of looks like in game. I thought we'll watch a few highlights. Got the comprehensive highlights on here. Just kind of want to focus on defensive structure, how we kind of team looks setting up, how we press the opposition, and then hopefully what it looks like when we win the ball back and look kind of counter-attack on the pitch. So see Germany in possession, come down the right, straight away, players on them, pushing them back. And they did always look for that kind of ball in. Like you say, that was always the threat, those kind of threats from the wing. But because I wanted a little bit of freedom, I didn't want to have fullbacks on defend or anything like that, or really restrict me fullbacks. I want them to be a little bit more free, ready for the counter-attack. But we'll see, playing off from the back and straight away, looking for Tzolis there. Probably just coming across to assist. You see, straight away, drop back in a position, setting up, back four. Defensive midfielders taking position as well, screening. And you see they're always looking, because of that, they're always looking to kind of come wide, and we've always dealt with that fairly well. Let the ball go through there though. Give it to Nabry. See there, took the lead. Again, slightly outdone there. But we were better than that. So we'll see. Work the ball up there. Again, looking for Tzolis. Now this is why I got my wing backs on kind of complete wing back. A bit more aggressive. Coming up behind, picking them loose balls up. Fortunately, couldn't find Tzolis again. You can still see a slight press on there as well. While the rest of the team are getting back position. Again, win the ball back. Play it out wide. Fortunately, couldn't find the cross on that occasion. Again, set pieces is always something we're looking to kind of aim for as well. Take advantage of any free kicks, corners. I think Greece had a goal disallowed that night as well from a corner, which, yeah, not really sure. Probably very fortunate England not to lose by more than what they did. But if you can see, I can see how everything's set up. I think sometimes with a bit more quality, a bit more squad depth, like say if you're doing a building nation, you're building team up over the years, if you can get that quality in and certainly a bit more depth. See, this is a kind of a tactic you can really adopt, certainly in the early years of a save like that. But that's the idea. Keep control of the ball as well. Look for them openings, cautious mentality. It's not just kind of like, say, a launcher forward or anything. You do want to retain a little bit of possession, but pick your moments, pick your spots. Look for them through balls. Look for those opportunities. Not be wasteful. You can see we're not going to have many passes, but we want them to be good passes. See, straight away, Musiala, straight on him. More often than not, crossing the box we can deal with. We're quite fairly happy with that. You can see Germany were a top, obviously, as you know, a top team. You can see it's very hard to get hold of the ball. Very hard to really cause them problems and break their lines. We're playing, like, say, 3 defenders, 3 at the back. You can see 2 wing backs, 2 wide midfielders as well. So really were causing problems. I think I've given offside that one. Right, so the first one was offside. So see here, grab the ball. You can see it passing it around nicely. Look at that opening. Bringing them forward a little bit more, trying to create gaps, as you can see. Our players looking for them gaps. Position here. Over to Pavlidis. Unfortunately, just couldn't reach him. But again, work for them back lines. Looking for kind of Tzolis there. This is exactly what he does best. Run up them line. And then result in a goal from outside the box. Fantastic strike. To show up defensively again, you can see, pause that right here. You can see Zagovic straight on them. Looking to kind of close them down. Tzolis as well, just behind him, trying to offer that support. And force the ball out of play. Again, you can see them constantly putting pressure on, constantly pushing them back, not giving them space to play through the middle, where they're the most dangerous. But, like you see, they are German. They are going to get through now and again. But you see, the good goalkeeper, deal with it fairly easy. And that's the premise of the whole tactic. You see, is to hold them at bay, frustrate them. You see a goal there, resulting from a set piece again. Frustrate the opposition and grab goals like that. Like you say, it's not going to be, I don't know, the biggest kind of wow factor of a tactic you'll ever play, but it's fun, it's different. Like I say, certainly if you're a building nation style team or a really kind of, I don't know, underdog team, it's not a bad place to start. Like I say, I probably would dial it back a little bit. I think Greece have that bit more quality where they can play kind of a gegenpressing counter attack. That makes sense. Don't know if that sounds right, but a lot of teams can't really do that. And you may have to kind of play the purest form of a counter attack if you like, really sit back and really just kind of get it to a target man or your wingers with a bit of pace, bit of creativity, and hopefully you can fashion kind of the odd chance out. But like I say, Greece have a little bit more about them than that. Very clever, and obviously Jovanovic, very clever manager. I think he'd probably focus on players like this, like your Musiala, looking to kind of isolate them, like you did kind of Bellingham and players like that against England, Cole Palmer. And like you say, to kind of play a team like England away and only kind of give them 2 shots on target. Like you say, it's defensive masterclass. Like you say, as well as possibly could have had 3 or 4 goals yourself quite easily. Yeah, so that's it really. That's kind of what I want to show you. That's my kind of Ivan Jovanovic tactic. Like I say, if you are enjoying these series, you enjoyed this one, we got something to say down in the comments, a bit of constructive criticism or a bit of praise, either way, it's all welcome. So get on in the comments, but please drop a like, subscribe if you can. The channel's kind of growing week by week. Like I say, keep the requests coming in. I know I'm dropped a little bit behind on these. I've started a couple of the saves as well on my channel, but like you say, keep the ideas coming. I think I've got a couple more in mind that you guys have suggested, so look to kind of get back onto them this week. This one really did test me kind of, I don't know, limits if you like. It was a fun one to do, but frustrating. I think more for the Football Manager engine, more than anything else in the way the kind of Football Manager perceives top level players. They say they don't very rarely have an off day on Football Manager, but I think I've got somewhere near. I'd love to show you a bit more data, a bit more stats, but I think you get the general concept of it. So, like I say, that's it from me now. Till the next time, bye for now.